Two breakfasts can contain similar calories, yet produce completely different afternoons, because calorie totals do not describe how food interacts with your appetite system. One meal may leave you comfortably satisfied, while another sends you searching through the kitchen before your next planned meal. That difference is not proof of weak willpower, a broken metabolism, or one villainous nutrient hiding on your plate. It begins with two related processes. Satiation helps in the meal you are eating, while satiety delays hunger afterward. Those processes combine physical volume, nutrient sensing, food texture, learned expectations, reward, sleep, stress, and the environment around you. So the useful question is not which food kills hunger forever, because normal hunger is a healthy signal that should return. The better question is which meal features make fullness easier to notice and more likely to last until you actually need food. We will follow 5 practical levers, then assemble them into meals that feel substantial without pretending one formula works for everyone. The first signals begin before nutrients even enter your bloodstream, as sight, smell, taste, and chewing tell your brain that food has arrived. As your stomach expands, stretch-sensitive nerves register physical volume rather than reading a calorie label hidden somewhere outside your body. Messages travel through nerves including the vagus, connecting the digestive tract with brain regions that help coordinate meal size and appetite. The brain integrates those messages with memory, emotion, reward, energy needs, and whatever tempting food happens to remain within reach. When nutrients reach the small intestine, specialized cells release chemical messengers that report what arrived and help slow the eating process. Hormones including CCK, GLP-1, and PYY participate in this conversation, influencing digestion, fullness, and communication between the gut and brain. Ghrelin often rises before meals and falls after eating, but it is not a perfect clock or a simple master switch for hunger. These hormones are overlapping signals, not buttons that turn appetite completely on or off after one supposedly perfect ingredient. Appetite also learns from experience, so the appearance and texture of a familiar food can create expectations about how filling it will be. Reward circuits can encourage eating when energy need is low, especially when choices are convenient, varied, strongly flavored, and constantly visible. Short sleep can shift this entire decision landscape, making snacks and rewarding foods harder to ignore even when energy expenditure barely changes. Genes, age, activity, medications, medical conditions, and personal history add more variation, which is why identical meals can feel different to different people. The first practical lever is energy density, which means the number of calories packed into each gram of food. Water-rich foods generally provide more weight and volume for the same energy than foods whose calories are concentrated into a small space. Picture a large bowl of strawberries beside a few spoonfuls of oil. Both matter nutritionally, but their physical volume is dramatically different. Water, trapped air, and intact plant structure can enlarge a portion without requiring the same concentration of calories found in dry or fatty foods. That larger physical presence creates more opportunities for chewing, stomach expansion, and sensory exposure before the meal is finished. A systematic review for the dietary guidelines found that portion size and energy density independently and additively influence energy intake in adults. In plain language, a large serving of calorie-dense food can raise intake through 2 separate effects working in the same direction. A broth-based vegetable soup before a meal can add warm volume, while creamy soups may carry far more energy in a similar-looking bowl. Whole fruit, vegetables, legumes, and many cooked grains combine water with structure, making them useful building blocks for satisfying meals. Energy-dense foods are not automatically unhealthy, and lower density is not automatically better for children, athletes, or people struggling to eat enough. Nuts, olive oil, cheese, and avocado provide valuable nutrients and flavor, but their compact energy makes casual portions easy to underestimate. The goal is balance. Use water-rich foods for generous volume, then add enough concentrated ingredients to make the meal enjoyable and nutritionally complete. The second lever is protein, probably the most famous fullness nutrient and also one of the most aggressively marketed. A meta-analysis of randomized trials found that higher protein test meals generally reduced short-term hunger and increased reported fullness in healthy adults. Protein digestion also interacts with several gut signals. While its food structure can require more chewing than refined, rapidly eaten alternatives. Useful protein can come from fish, eggs, poultry, dairy, tofu, tempeh, beans, lentils, peas, or combinations of grains and legumes. Plant and animal foods arrive with different nutrient packages, so the best choice depends on the whole diet rather than a single hierarchy. The serving does not need to become enormous, because doubling protein does not guarantee that fullness will double with it. Protein usually works best as an anchor beside fiber-rich plants, a suitable carbohydrate, and enough fat to carry flavor and satisfaction. Compare sweetened cereal alone with oats, yogurt, berries, and seeds. The second breakfast changes protein, fiber, texture, and volume simultaneously. That example also reveals a limitation, because long-term protein trials are less consistent than a clear short-term appetite effect. Protein needs also vary with body size, age, training, pregnancy, kidney disease, and other factors that may require individualized professional guidance. The third lever is fiber, but fiber is a family of substances with different viscosity, fermentability, solubility, and effects on food structure. Viscous fibers such as beta-glucan and pectin can thicken after hydration, potentially slowing movement through the stomach and changing appetite signals. Reviews find that viscous fibers improve appetite more consistently than many non-viscous types, although the average effects remain modest. Another systematic review found that most single acute fiber treatments did not reduce food intake, so fiber is not an instant appetite drug. Whole fiber-rich foods still bring water, chewing, micronutrients, and intact structure that an isolated powder may not reproduce. Oats become thick and spoonable, barley stays chewy, and beans combine fiber with protein in a form that takes time to eat. An intact orange requires biting and chewing, while juice removes much of that structure and makes several fruits easy to consume quickly. Legumes can turn a light salad into a meal, especially when paired with vegetables, a flavorful dressing, and a satisfying grain or bread. Increase fiber gradually and drink appropriately, because a sudden jump can create bloating or discomfort instead of a better eating experience. The fourth lever is texture and eating rate. An overlooked reason two foods with similar labels may produce different intake. Soft foods that require little chewing can deliver energy rapidly, leaving less time to notice the accumulating sensory and gastrointestinal signals. In a 2-week randomized crossover trial, researchers designed ultra-processed diets that differed mainly in textures predicted to produce faster or slower eating. Participants consumed about 369 fewer calories per day on the slower eating texture pattern, despite similar liking and nutrients offered. Slowing a meal can be as practical as choosing foods that require chewing, putting utensils down naturally, and avoiding distracted speed eating. There is no universal 20-minute stopwatch that guarantees fullness because meal size, food, person, and starting hunger all change the response. Liquid calories deserve context. Some studies find weaker expected satiety from liquids or semi-solids, while other control comparisons find little difference. The safest conclusion is not that smoothies are bad, but that drinking a meal can change chewing, speed, expectations, and how easily calories are layered. Chewable fruit beside yogurt may feel different from the same ingredients blended, even when the nutrition calculation looks nearly identical. Coffee drinks, juices, and sweet beverages can accompany a full meal without displacing much food, making their energy easy to overlook. Now consider the landmark inpatient trial that compared minimally processed and ultra-processed diets in 20 adults for 2 weeks each. The offered diets were matched on several nutrients, yet participants could eat as much or as little of the prepared food as they wanted. On the ultra-processed diet, participants ate roughly 508 additional calories per day and ate noticeably faster. Average body weight rose during the ultra-processed phase and fell during the unprocessed phase, even though the experiment lasted only 4 weeks. This trial does not prove every packaged food causes overeating, or that processing level explains every individual response. It shows that food form, texture, speed, energy density, and effortless availability can overpower a nutrient label that appears reasonable. The fifth lever is your environment, beginning with portion size, because people often eat more when more food is served. Larger portions increased intake across controlled studies, and the effect can persist beyond a single meal without complete compensation later. Sleep belongs in this lever because restricted sleep trials have increased calorie intake without a matching rise in daily energy expenditure. In another randomized trial, adults who extended short sleep by about 1 hour consumed roughly 270 fewer calories daily on average. These are group averages, not promises, but they show why fighting evening hunger may begin with bedtime rather than another restrictive food rule. To build a satisfying meal, start with a clear protein anchor instead of hoping small traces from several ingredients will add up. Next, add a generous water-rich component such as vegetables, fruit, broth-based soup, or a mixed dish containing plenty of produce. Choose a carbohydrate that fits your needs, favoring intact grains, beans, potatoes, or bread with enough structure to make the meal feel complete. Add fats and sauces deliberately for flavor and nutrient absorption, recognizing that small amounts can contribute substantial energy without much volume. Keep at least one component chewy, crunchy, or spoon-thick so the meal creates sensory evidence instead of disappearing in a few hurried bites. A yogurt bowl might combine plain Greek yogurt, oats, berries, nuts, and cinnamon, with portions adjusted for appetite and energy needs. A savory bowl might use lentils, roasted vegetables, brown rice, feta, herbs, and olive oil, producing contrast instead of diet food punishment. For 7 days, rate hunger before eating and 2 hours afterward, then change only one lever rather than rebuilding your entire diet overnight. Persistent or extreme hunger, unexplained weight change, or symptoms such as excessive thirst deserve clinical attention. This is general information, not medical advice. The durable lesson is simple. Combine protein, fiber-rich structure, water-rich volume, deliberate texture, and a supportive environment. Then adjust using your own response. Fullness is not a contest to silence your body. It is useful